Hello, cluster students, and this is the first of two lessons this week. It's the beginning of multiplying and dividing rational expressions. I had to slim down the curriculum and think, well, what is the most important? I feel like manipulating rational expressions to me is probably very, very important. So I decided to do that for this week and next week, and then we won't have that much time left. So let's just get started. So the first thing we're going to do is just review simplifying expressions anyway, using properties of exponents. So let's go through this pretty fast. And you guys should know how to do this. So if you want to skip to the next slide, by all means, go ahead. So we are going to do 3 over 6 will simplify to 1 over 2, x fifth over x eighth, that's x to the third, in the denominator, y6 over y3, that's y third. Let's see if we're right, and we are. 20 over 4 is a 5, if you remember that. X10 over 2 is x to the 8th. And we have y to the 8th. And 7 over 21. And x third, x fifth, x2, y over y8, y7. Both variables and their exponents are in the denominator. So 1 over 3x squared, y to the 7th. All right, so you guys go ahead and simplify this expression yourself. Pause the video. And here's our answer. Our answer should be B. So let's make sure 10 over 15 will simplify to 2/3. X to the 4th in the numerator, y to the 3rd in the denominator. So that is correct. All right, so this is what we're learning. We're learning how to simplify a following rational expression. A rational expression is an expression where the variable is in a denominator. So normally when we've graphed things that always did not have a variable in the denominator. So that's what we're talking about. And it causes for undefined, but we don't want to talk about right now. Right now, we just want to focus on simplifying. And guess what we need to do? Miss Taylor's favorite thing, which is factor, factor, factor. All right, so when I do x squared minus 9 over 2x plus 6, let's remember that's the difference of squares. So if we remember that, that would be x minus 3x plus 3. And I hope you remember that. And then, well, the two terms in the bottom share 2. So I have 2x plus 3. Now, since they're all in factors and multiplication, then I can do just what I did in the previous term and just simplify what's the same. And so when I have my answer, because x plus 3 over x plus 3 is 1, so then I'm just left with x minus 3 over 2. And that's literally what you're doing today. It's not that hard. We're going to go through this pretty fast. So we got x squared plus 5x minus 14 over x squared minus 4. Again, factors. So let's go ahead and make our little factor tree. Let's put negative 14 at the top. Let's put 5 at the bottom. What two numbers multiply to give me negative 14, but add up to 5. Easy peasy. 7 and negative 2. So that should be, since my a is 1, or the coefficient of x squared is 1, we can just go straight to the parentheses and don't have to group. So we have x plus 7, x minus 2 over x minus 2 and x plus 2. And so then we factor. When we factor, we can simplify x minus 2 and x minus 2 will turn into 1. And what's left over is that. Simple. So you guys try C. All right, so now if you look at C, it's still a difference of squares because 4 is a perfect square and 1 is 2. So we should see 2x minus 1 and 2x plus 1 in our numerator. And as for our denominator, 5, it can be factored out. And so there you go, because 5 times 2x is 10x and 5 times 1 is 5. I see a 2x minus 1 and a 2x minus 1 in numerator and denominator. So look what I have. All right, next. Okay, so let's do some factoring by grouping. So our a, or our coefficient of our x squared term, is now 3. So we're going to have to group. We can't just come up with the numbers and drop it in there. So a times c 3 times 8 is 24. So I'm going to put 24 here and 14 here. So what two numbers multiply to give me 24 but add up to 14? Hopefully you said 12 and 2. So I'm going to go over here and write it out, and then I'm going to have to erase it. So you can pause the video if you need to remember how to factor. Let's see. All right, got my pen working. 3x squared plus 12x plus 2x plus 8. All right, my first two terms here is 3x. So I have x plus 4, if you guys remember that. Second two terms here are 2. That is x plus 4. Oh, yay, that already starts to look right because I have factors that are the same in both my groups. So x plus 4. I cannot write today. Let's go back. Plus 4 and 3x plus 2. All right, so if you want to copy it down, you pause it because I'm about to erase the whole thing. So here we go. So now I'm erasing it, and let's see. Go ahead and replace that with 3x plus 2x plus 4. That's what we came up with. And the bottom is easy because it's difference of squares. So we have x plus 4 and x minus 4. We can simplify those out. And then we just have 3x plus 2 over x minus 4 as our answer. And there's nothing else we can do. Next. All right, so here is a rule that we can use in math to make simplifying easier. So let's talk about how this rule comes about. So I have 9 minus 6 and 6 minus 9. Let's just mathematically do those in our head just to see what happens. So 9 minus 6 is 3, and 6 minus 9 is negative 3. Well, what does that simplify to? A negative 1. Okay. So let's go to the next one. 15 minus 3 is 12. 3 minus 15 is negative 12. Another negative 1. So when we think about rules in mathematics, if it works with numbers, I know those same rules will work with variables. And that's how you kind of prove it. So if I look at a minus b and b minus a, they should just turn to negative 1. But you're like, oh, I don't believe you, Miss Taylor. You got to prove that to me. So we're going to work in the numerator, in the denominator. We're going to change the denominator to negative a plus b instead. So I rewrote it so it'll match that. Now let's factor out a negative 1 instead. So we can get that a positive, and look what happens. So I can rewrite this problem as negative 1 over a minus b. And what do you have? There's your negative 1. So that rule is if you have the same terms and the difference is multiplied by a negative 1, then you can still simplify it. Instead of 1, you just simplify it to a negative 1. So it makes it easier to do. You just have to recognize when you see it. So look at it. We should see it here. So let's start at the top. So let's go ahead and make some quick little notes. We have 9 and we have negative 6. Hopefully you say negative 3 and negative 3 because you would be correct. All right, so then we have x minus 3 times x minus 3 over, well, what do they share? 6. 6 turns to 6. 3 minus x. And you're like, I can use my rule. So I can go here and say, this is going to be a negative 1. So you're like, okay. So you go negative 1 times x minus 3 is 6. Well, we don't like that. And none of the answers really look like that. But you go, oh, A looks like that. Does it really look like that? Let's get rid of it because that negative 1 is multiplied to that whole binomial. So negative 1 times x is a negative x. And a negative 1 times a negative 3 is a positive 3 over 6. Well, which one is a negative x and a positive 3? Well, that's not, and that was not. You need a negative x, and that leaves that. Do y'all agree? There you go. All right, let's see if we can finish this out. I think we have 2 more things we have to do. This actually might be our last one. Let's see. Using that negative rule. So we have 2x minus 10. So let's factor it out. And hopefully you've tried it already and seen if you've gotten the answer. So I have 2x minus 5. That looks great. Difference of squares, 5 minus x. And 5 plus x. So what should I do? Oh, look at that. Same term with a minus sign. I can turn that to a negative 1. Well, this one's easy to find. We know we need a negative 2. There's only one answer with a negative 2. So we know that's our answer. So there you go. So the worksheet that you're going to get only has, I think, 6 or 7 problems. Of course, there are parts. I think the last one, the application one, you don't have to do that. So please still work. I don't want you to go into pre-cal just unprepared, because you guys are a brilliant group of kids. So I'm hoping you guys do your best. I will send out another video on Thursday. Thanks, guys.